Hey, welcome everybody. I am Scott. Welcome to another H-E-B virtual cooking class. We are glad you joined us. We got a lot on the agenda tonight. Tonight it's all about Eat the Rainbow, but instead of my normal guest host, I'd be introducing the wind beneath my wings. Charlotte Samuels off tonight, and in her place, we have the fantastic, no, she's no stranger to our show. We're excited she's back. She was back last year, this time around January. This thing we call this kind of refresh, renew, all these great things. She's one of our fantastic dietitians in store. Before I introduce her, I want to say they do a fantastic job. She's going to tell you all about it, how to take advantage of this fantastic thing that H-E-B does, because we love our community, we love our shoppers, we love our people. This is a device that you can take advantage of, this device being the fantastic dietitians in stores. I'm going to introduce Lorena Kaplan. She's with us. You're here. Yay. I'm so glad you're here.
I'm so glad I'm here. Now I've got some really big shoes to fill, Chef Charlotte. So.
Well, you know, it's okay because I've got so many questions for you. You're going to be my professional tonight, and she's going to be your professional. So all the questions you have, last year we did it. We had kind of Charlotte, me, Lorena. It was kind of like the trifecta. So it was like, this is so much simpler for you guys because literally she's going to be in the chat. She's going to be moderating. So any questions that you have, dietitian-wise, anything you want to just know, health-wise, everything. She is a guru. She knows it all. She's so smart, and she's got a great food philosophy, and I'm glad you're here to share our Eat the Rainbow. Will you tell folks really, really quickly about the dietitian program in stores really fast and how they can take advantage of that?
Absolutely. So if you haven't heard of H-E-B Nutrition Services, we've been around for almost 8 years now. We're here to help you navigate the aisles. We're here to help you understand what is good for my health, what is good for my health goals. We'll talk a little bit more about what you can expect when you get with a dietitian and how to reach out to us. But happy to be here.
And you're not the food police.
I'm not the food police.
Don't think that they're going to shape you into when you walk in going, look,
no,
I have some vices.
You will never hear from our dietitians, you do not or cannot do this. We are going to give you inspirations, ideas. We're here to help.
That's what I appreciate. The box of donuts that's in my cart, I'm like, look, I'm looking to make some changes, and you look down, you don't go, really, Scott? I'm like, look, don't judge me. And that's not what they're there for, not the food police. They're to join you on the journey. Well, she's joining us on the journey tonight. We got some great recipes we're going to do. We're going to start off with a roasted sweet potato and adobo pesto. Really, really simple. Now, I'm going to tell you, I'm not a big fan of sweet potatoes. They're not on my dinner plate typically. We went through rehearsal. We talked to Lorena about some great stuff, and I'm excited for her to share some things because I'm now going to eat sweet potatoes differently, and I know you will too after you hear some of the great things. After that, we're going to do a little grilled fennel with pomegranate. We're going to do some vegetable butchery on the show because I think it's really important that as you're kind of like refreshing, we're renewing from the holidays. Obviously, we're trying to make a new start, fresh start. Whether you're trying to like, you know, the goal is to compete in a decathlete or a Spartan race or a Tough Mudder, or just to kind of like go, look, I need to make some better choices this year. It's what it's all about. Lorena's here. We're going to do that. We're going to do it together. We're going to show you how to butcher some of these vegetables. So when you walk into stores, you're like, I don't know how to use this. I would never use it. I'm not going to use it. Like, we're going to show you how to grill some fennel, how to dismember the last of the pomegranates, to show you how to use these to get the arils that are inside. And then there's some great ways to kind of like utilize things. And if you're like, I don't know how to use that, I don't want to use it, or if you're too lazy and go, I don't have time to peel these potatoes, guess what? We're also going to direct you to our in-store, ready to go, value-added produce section, which has all that stuff already cut up. We've got the fresh juice we'll show you later, already done, orange juice, lemon juice, lime juice, like all these great things. Value-added, we got cut sweet potatoes. What else, Lorena? We got all
There's
cut
something
fresh
for
fruit.
everyone, Chef Scott. There's something
Everything.
for everyone, and that's really what, you know, I love the way you are presenting all these items because not one size fits all. And we're gonna talk about that today. You
bet we are. All right, we're also going to finish up with our baby kale salad with Pinyon and a Parm and a warm lemon vinaigrette. If it's cold outside, you know, we're going to show you a simple, fantastic way to do a vinaigrette. It's a little more warming, and it works perfectly for the cold weather. But also, when it's hot, it's 165 degrees in July, and the humidity is at 605%, whatever that is, and you feel like you're going to evaporate. This is also something you can use on some, when you cool it off, use it, same thing, works great. So we're going to get started. So we're going to roast sweet potatoes. Give me the skinny on sweet potatoes. So I'm not a big fan of sweet potatoes, but I do know that I think a lot of people feel like they may feel, because this is how I always felt, like, are sweet potatoes actually healthy because there's more sugar in them? Should we be eating less of them? Should we be more of them? Like, what are some things with our sweet potatoes that why should people be eating more sweet potatoes?
So sweet potatoes is one of those things where you really want to give the credit for what we call the phytochemicals in them, Chef Scott.
Phytochemicals?
So you talked about Eat the Rainbow. I mean, when you look at the inside of this sweet potato, it's got this bright, beautiful orange color. Those are the phytochemicals. Those are phytonutrients that are giving us what the body needs, really. And so let me pull out what I believe to be the best really attribute for
Hit
a sweet
me.
potato.
While you do that, I'm going to dice up our potato.
Okay.
So, I like to do it.
So one of the things we know about sweet potatoes is they offer you fiber. Okay, I don't think we talk enough about fiber when it comes to our fruits and vegetables, and so know that that's going to be a source for you. But I hear what you're saying with people getting concerned around them, you know, being sweet, having sugars in them. They are, it's okay though. They are a carbohydrate. I want to mention they are a complex carbohydrate because of that fiber.
So what is a complex carbohydrate for like those of us that are like, wait, carbohydrate versus like pasta grain and this complex carbohydrate? What is the difference in those two?
Well, it's basically going to have the fiber that helps break it down slower. Okay, and so when we talk about simple carbohydrates and complex carbohydrates are going to turn it into glucose a lot slower because of that fiber component than say something that is just like a sweetened beverage, right? That is going to
goes like
that converts immediately to glucose. So you have that sustained energy. One of the things carbohydrates provide to us is that energy throughout the day, and so because it is complex, it gives you that sustained energy, very filling as well.
Good, I like that. So we're going to take our sweet potatoes, and because I'm a fan of making sweet potatoes a little more savory, we're going to kind of play on the sweet and savory. So I've taken our sweet potato. You just saw me. It was already peeled. We practiced peeling potato, but that looks actually quite boring to just watch somebody peel a sweet potato very slowly. So we peeled it. I showed you how we diced it. We got a bowl of our sweet potatoes here. Now, if you're like, look, Scott, I'm not into this tonight. I can't do this. I promise you we'll have everything on the table before the hour is out. Everything cooked. You can do this along with me. It's fantastic. But if you're like, look, I don't want to peel sweet potatoes, I'm not doing it. Lorena also said, so these are our sweet potato fries. Again, this is part of that value-added veggie thing. You walk into the store, there's all those Brussels sprouts, everything's ready to go. These are already cut into crinkle cuts. You can do the exact same application. Now, I'm using 2 pounds of sweet potatoes, so it may take you 3 bags of these. They're about 10-ounce bags, so maybe 3 of these to kind of get to where you need to be for that recipe. But you can always just cut it in half, use a less adobo pesto. It makes a fantastic little kind of like coated fry, and that cotija cheese, it's fantastic as well. And you said you eat these raw.
Yes.
With your veggies.
You can eat sweet potatoes raw. And it blew my mind when I learned about it and when I actually tried it.
I'm like.
But it's certainly going to be a way that you can add in a nice little crunch. It's going to be like a carrot, pretty much.
A little bit.
A little bit more starchier, because it is.
A little bit more starchy. But I like it because exactly the same thing. It's got all the vitamins. And, you know, Super Bowl is just around the corner. Big game, party. If you're doing dips, like, hey, you know, kick up your crudité platter or your veggie platter with those little sweet potatoes. It's good, though. I don't mind that. I just ate that raw. I'm not dying. This is good. All right. About a 1/4 cup of olive oil. We're going to get these in the oven really fast. What I want to tell you about is we're going to roast these in an oven. And when it comes to weekdays, we all could use more time, right? There's a lot going on in the world. There's a lot going on in your lives. Everybody's busier. A lot of craziness. So the best thing I can show you is I'm going to give you the tips and tricks to slow it down. Lorena, don't look at the salt use. Okay?
I see you. I'm watching. I'm watching. So far, okay.
We gotta. I know we're not. She's not the food police, so she's gonna try to direct me gently into. We're gonna kind of season some stuff up a little bit differently. I'm gonna use a lot of fresh cracked pepper. By the way, there's a lot of cracked pepper mills, and I'm gonna show this, Rob, so you can see it. This little H-E-B black pepper mill is the best pepper mill when it comes to getting. As I'm inhaling the pepper, you can see it. It has the best grind cut. I've tested all of them, all the different black pepper grinds you can figure out. This one is the best because it doesn't come out really like all chunky. It comes out perfect. Well done, H-E-B, on our black pepper grinder. If you need a black pepper grinder, don't go buy one of those fancy cranks. We've got those big ones over there. Just buy a little pepper grinder. It's all you need. Super simple. All right, a little bit of cumin I'm going to add to this. Where's my cumin? As much or as little as you want. Again, this is just to kind of add that flavor. We've got some adobo spice. We got a little cilantro. We're kind of going more toward that Latin American feel to these potatoes here. So a little bit of that. And we're just going to toss this together. So let me show you this. Big bowl. Everything in the bowl. All the olive oil, everything. We're just going to give it a toss just like this. How do you keep your hands from getting dirty? You may lose a couple, and that's totally acceptable. Toss it together. And when I talked about how do you make things faster for the weekday if you're moving, this is one way. Preheat your oven. Recipe says 400 degrees for about 35 to 45 minutes until they're nice and crispy or golden or caramelized and soft. So I preheated a pan, my sheet pan, in the oven at 400 degrees. Let it sit there. Just throw it in cold when the oven's cold. And then this will also speed up the cooking time.
Oh, nice.
there's also a lot of theater in that, so you got to kind of give that. That will probably speed up our cooking time a lot. By at least 10 minutes because we went into a hot oven, 400-degree pan. The instant the potatoes hit, they're going to start to kind of sear and caramelize. Just one of those tricks. Make it easy. All right, the pesto. So Lorena, we are going to make a pesto out of pumpkin seeds, garlic, a little fresh cilantro, fresh squeezed lemon juice, which we got from the stores. We've also have fresh lemons if you want to do it that way, but if you're just like, I'm not in the mood, Scott, fantastic, I'm with you. And a little can of adobo, chipotle peppers and adobo sauce. Any can of chipotle peppers, doesn't matter what your favorite variety is, any one will do. And I'm going to show you what we're going to do here. So it says a 7-ounce can of chipotle peppers. So if you're like, you're off, you were drinking when you wrote the recipe, something's wrong. It's not because I'm going to show you. We're actually not going to use the entire can. We're going to actually press all that great adobo flavor through using our little sieve here. And we're going to leave all the pulp and seeds, all the really hot part of the peppers behind. Now, it is a little spicy, and I'm going to tell you this, I'm a complete spice wuss. Anybody will tell you that knows me. I'm not a big, I love the flavor of the Thai birds, the serranos, all that stuff, but I'm not a big fan of like, when it just like hits you and you can't breathe. I can't do that. Lorena, your spice level, you're a little bit more.
I'm medium, but you know, with the sweet and the spicy, I'm excited about this because I know that's going to balance it out. And so even if you're not a fan of spice, you still got to try this.
Last year you said something and I loved it and I've held on to it. Will you talk a little bit about your food philosophy? Will you talk a little bit about that while I'm kind of mashing these peppers up? Like your kind of food philosophy behind, you're not just a dietitian, you're also a big foodie, right? You love to cook, you love food.
I do. I love to cook it. And you know, that's really a big part of what our team, when we look at all of our skilled dietitians on our team,
yep.
One thing in common is we love to cook, we love food, and we're so we get geeky about learning on not only the nutrition part, but where it's sourced, how it's grown, you know, learning about all the wonderful great things that we have on our shelves. So I call our dietitians the best product knowledge out there.
Yeah, and you guys are intimately knowledgeable about the products in store because that's where you're steering people, right? It's not like go to the internet, go to this location, find this, hopefully you'll get it in 7 to 12 weeks and you'll jump on and you'll feel a little better. It's like, no, they'll show you stuff that we actually carry in stores. So you see what I did there? All I have is the pulp remaining, the seeds. Scrape that little bit of that leftover sauce on there. That's it. Discard this, compost that, whatever you want to do. You can get it out of the way there. And this is going to go, this is where, now Lorena, Rob and I have this thing. Rob being our, those of you that don't know Rob, it's your first time joining us. Also, if it's your first time joining us on Facebook, just know, thank you for coming, thank you for watching. Any of the products that I pick up or do, you can always click on the icon, it'll send you to click on or do. That didn't make any sense. Anything that I do, so if I were to say something like a joke, you can click on the joke. Doesn't make any sense at all, Scott. It's the items I pick up that you can actually click on and buy. That's what you'll do. The power of the internet, you can go to it. Those of you watching on YouTube, welcome. Those of you that signed up for the Zoom class, so glad you're here. Take advantage of Lorena.
Rob is our... For you. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead. No, go.
Well, I have got a question from a customer. They're asking if this sweet potato recipe would also be good with butternut squash.
Yep. It will work pretty much on anything that has a little tiny bit of sweetness that's kind of like a heartier squash like that would absolutely work. Just watch your cooking time. You may have to kind of dial back your cooking time a little bit, but absolutely would totally work. We have a little policy here. We don't like to use the blender top. Now the recipe does call for you to throw this in a food processor. So because our food processor is ginormous, it's commercial, and it doesn't really, I don't like having to lug it around our test kitchens. I'm going to use this blender because it's a little more fun for you to see. Can you see it, Rob? Is that all right? Working there? Here we go.
Yeah, looks good.
The adobo puree is in here. There's no seeds. There's no actual peppers. It's just all that great, the onion, that cooked over flavor, all those great flavors are in there in that. I'm going to add about a cup of cilantro. Now for my cilantro, Lorena, I don't know about you. Cilantro to me is like, there's a certain point where I'm like, too much, too much, too much. But for the most part, I love it. And doesn't it have really, really healthy benefits? Like, isn't cilantro like one of those, like, isn't it? I feel like it's detoxifying. Is that right?
Well, I mean,
Am I making it up?
Anything from Chef Scott, anything that is grown is going to have some sort of amount of fiber. And then because of the color, remember eating the rainbow, those phytonutrients in there, there's going to be a source in there. So absolutely, I look at it for flavor. I mean, please give me cilantro on anything. It's a great flavor.
It works. I also, full disclosure, need you to know that I read a lot about health and wellness and all that kind of stuff, which of course naturally makes me an expert in that. So, but luckily for you guys, we have a real expert here who will basically fact check the things that I say, because don't listen to what I say, listen to what the professional says. I threw a little, some pepitas in there, or pumpkin seeds. Now pumpkin seeds, is that stuff we want to have in our diet? Like our seeds and nuts like that, all good? Is a little lemon juice, fresh lemon juice? What are we, like,
Absolutely,
what's your stance on seeds?
We want to include, different sources of our plant-based proteins, and that is going to come from your seeds, your nuts, legumes, all those great things. But what's great about all of our options is we're playing around with different textures, different flavors as well. So I always lean on our H-E-B chefs to point me in that right direction, but absolutely want to include these, and just think of them as a plant-based protein and a good fat also.
Exactly, and I feel like anytime, I mean, like, look, if your goal this year is to, like, I just want to eat cleaner, I just want to make better choices, whatever that is, or if you're like, I want to be super athlete by the end of, like, December 31st, 2022, I want to be like jacked and doing Ironmans, like whatever it is, whatever that goal is, like you can, like our dietitians can kind of help guide you there. But what I think in order to follow any plan, the food's got to taste good, right?
Absolutely.
Like I could eat like a bag full of wheatgrass and be like, it's like, I mean, it may be healthy for me, but like I'm not going to sustain that. So like food's got to taste good, right? So that's what it's all about. These to taste good, we're good. All right, this is our pesto. So Lorena and I started to talk about the fact that Rob, our camera guy that makes everything kind of work here,
yes.
He and I have a thing, like we're like, so far we haven't ruined a camera by doing an open-faced blender. And so is it safe? No. Is it good TV? Yes, especially when the first time it happens, when it explodes, because this show, folks, is live. There's no commercials, they're uncut. There's whatever happens live, you guys get to see, and there's no teleprompter, so we're just unfiltered. This is how it goes. So we're gonna start off. Get ready, Lorena.
I am on the edge of my seat right now. I think you're going to pass this challenge.
I'm going to turn it up. Come on, look how pretty that is. Rob, we're batting 1,000 for the new year. This is it. We can't go down. We can't be defeated by this thing. We're going to be able to do everything without a blender top.
You know what?
It's more fun that way.
But I have a question. We've got a question
Yes.
on Facebook, and it is a pretty interesting one to me because I've heard it from several people.
Yeah.
What is a good substitute for cilantro when it tastes like soap to that individual? Now, this isn't a phenomenon. It is true.
It is true. Absolutely. There are certain tastes. So we do this thing at our H-E-B for a lot of our own brand managers called the physiology of taste. And there's different people taste things differently. Obviously, we're all different. And there's some people taste when they eat cilantro like a soapy or like potpourri, kind of like they just get really, and I don't really know if there's a way to not do that unless it's just to add less of it or less like fresh cilantro like kind of in your face. So for this, if you don't want to add all that fresh cilantro, it's just as good using fresh Italian parsley. If you want to make it a little more parsley flavor, a little more, you can always use curly parsley. But you could use a cup of parsley and be totally fine. Parsley pesto is just as delicious as like using cilantro or whatever. And you can always change up the nuts. If you don't like pepitas or you're allergic, you can totally change up the nuts. You can use almonds, smoked almonds. We have all those brand new almonds that are like, we have the wasabi. I mean, you could go crazy. You could do whatever kind of nut you like. It's totally fine. I know peanut's probably not a popular nut because I know it's one of the most, allergen-ridden things, but that's also an option. Kind of do whatever you feel is best in the same proportions, and you should be totally fine. You may have to add a little more olive oil. If it doesn't move at all, typically that's why we do it in a food processor, because the food processor will kind of blend it all together. But if you're finding it's a little bit thick, just add a little bit of water, like a tablespoon at a time. But yes, parsley, totally fine, easy to do instead of cilantro, but I totally get you. Cilantro's pretty polarizing. I'm good with cilantro to the point where then I'm like, you just get a fresh hit. Like if I just took a mouthful of cilantro, you're gonna watch me kind of go, like, choke and gag, but that's why I'm not going to do it in front of you guys. We'll blend it up into something that tastes really delicious. All right, we're going to do some vegetable butchery now. We're going to do some fennel. So Lorena told me, she confessed that she'd never had fresh fennel. We did a confessions thing, and she said, I've never had it. I don't know what it tastes like. It's one of those vegetables you kind of walk by at H-E-B and you're like, I don't know what that is. I'm walking by it. So I want to show you here. I don't know if you can see all that. Those are fennel bulbs. So all of this can be used for a recipe. So the bottom is what we're going to use for the grill. We're going to utilize the bottom part of our fennel. So across the board here, I'm just going to cut the fennel right where the stalks are, just like that. So we're going to utilize these. This is our root end that we're going to grill. We're going to cut them. I'm going to show you how to do that. We're going to kind of throw them on the grill, nice thick planks, and it's delicious. Now, anise has that. I think everybody knows anise has that black licorice flavor. However, This is not black licorice. It does not taste like black licorice. Now, if you were to just start chewing, like if I were just to do like into that, like that, I'm going to get a little bit of that fresh anise flavor. Some people love it. You may not like it, which is why if you do love this flavor, this is fantastic to use like celery. Just peel off the fronds up top. Now the fronds I'm going to actually keep because the fronds, when they're in good shape like this, it's like fresh dill. Peel those off and use those for your salad. We're going to put those on top as a garnish to our grilled pomegranate, but we're also going to add it to the salad we're going to do later. But it's also really good, speaking of which, you talk about pestos. The student that was asking about the cilantro for the pesto, you can throw fennel fronds and a mixture of other things like, fresh parsley. I love like a little fresh dill, and a mixture of the fresh fennel fronds would be amazing as well. It kind of take it to a different space, but it'd be really, really good, especially like on chicken, little lean protein. You missed our lean protein class. I wish you were here because you would, Lorena, you would have been able to see like all the different, like this is a kind of a good, like a good compliment to if you're still sticking on the lean proteins. If you missed that class, you can always go back to our YouTube channel, check that out. We did last week. But we missed you on there because I was just slinging facts like, just like, nobody's business. And Charlotte was like, nope, not true. Nope, not true. So, I got to have a wrangler that kind of
it works. Yeah, that definitely is a must sometimes. But I will say,
on the side.
I will say again, talking about our food philosophy, this is really completing it, right? If we're including a lean protein, great. You want to make sure you are really bringing in this more of a plant-based approach and adding in more of those fruits and vegetables. I can share real quickly on the nutritional for fennel too.
Yes, tell me.
I was embarrassed to admit that I have never tried it, but nutritionally, we know that this is going to be giving you about 3 grams of fiber per cup, and then nutrient to call out in there is going to be vitamin A.
Vitamin A. What does vitamin A do? Why do people want vitamin A in their diet?
So this is a fat-soluble vitamin. It does help with your vision, making sure that you're keeping that intact. It also, when we talk about for the vitamin E that is inside the fennel, when you add a fat to it, it's going to be absorbed. So there are certain vitamins that fat must be present in order to absorb. And so the way that you're presenting
That's what fat soluble means. Because I almost did one of these. Like, teacher, I have a question.
Fat soluble
vitamin. Fat soluble means,
yes, it must be present in order to really make sure it is you're absorbing all those nutrients.
I got you. Mm-hmm. All right. I like it. So we're going to cut up our fennel. I'm going to show you this. So we kept our fronds. Now, what I would do with my fronds, I just composted those. But I'll show you with the leftover fennel I have here. Now, for the way I roast chicken, the way I do my turkey for Thanksgiving, I know we've got a little while. You got some time before we do the next turkey for Thanksgiving. But I will typically take these guys off, just like I showed you, and then I will roast underneath this, not only the fennel frond, these reeds right here, the stalks, but I'll also reeds. What am I talking about? Stalks, along with some celery, some carrot, and some shallots. Put it underneath your turkey, even if you're roasting chicken, or you're going to do like if you're a big fan of those like sheep pan meals, throw your chicken breast on top of that, and the flavor you're going to get out of that, they're going to caramelize. It's just going to flavor everything, and some of the juices dripping down. All that stuff kind of plays together. It's amazing. So take those, lay it your bird or whatever fowl you're doing right on top of the fennel reeds here. I said it again. Stalks. What's reed? What's reed? What is reed in my? Why is reed in my head? Reeds? Like reeds, like in the swamp reeds? I'm assuming. Who knows? Who knows what I'm thinking about? All right. So we're going to show you how to butcher the fennel here. So we're going to take the bottoms off. That's only because we want a nice flat surface. We also want to take the root off. Anything that's kind of dirty, and I washed these before, but fennel can be a little dirty, so no big deal. Just give it a rinse or just wipe it off with a towel. You want to kind of peel off anything that looks like it's a little older, like these guys. See this? All I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this, and I'm going to take those guys off. Again, I'm not going super far up, just enough. Give it a little trim. This looks okay. I'll keep all that on there. But I got a nice little flat surface now to work with. I'll compost those guys. This again, right here, just the root end, just taking that guy off. This looks a little, I'll take that guy off. Sometimes you can peel a little further, it's all right. Fennel's different sizes. The fennel I got today at H-E-B was a little bit smaller. They can be huge, so you may only need one. I'm going to grill 3 just so I'll show you. So I'm going to cut them. Now, if I was dicing these, I would basically take my knife, I would turn it on its side, and I would kind of slice like this, like you would an onion, and then I would slice one down the middle here, and then I would just and dice it up like that. But since we're going to grill this, I'm going to use bigger planks. I'm going to do about a 1/2 inch plank on each. So they're nice and thick, but you see that? Look how beautiful that is. So it's just really pretty. I'm telling you, man, nature's
It's got those layers and they're kind of like
just
an
like
onion,
an onion,
so it helps it stick together.
So we're not cutting, you see I didn't cut the root stem off because if I cut too far into this, I don't know if Rob you can see it, if I cut too far into that, it's just gonna separate, right? So I wanna make sure, that's why I'm just barely taking off the bottom of that root so these will stand up and I can cut them and they'll actually stay together on the grill. All right, this is it. That's all I'm doing. So I'm gonna take a bowl here. I'm gonna take the same bowl I used for my potatoes because all it has is the olive oil and salt in it. And I'm gonna throw these guys in there. Move my knife out of the way. And again, salt, pepper, modest salt, pepper. If you've got your fantastic H-E-B pepper grinder, you're going to want to hit it with that. And there's already some olive oil in the bowl here, but it's about a quarter cup of olive oil. Now, I use a lot of olive oil. Lorena, am I doing the right thing? Do I have the right fat? Am I using the right? Is olive oil a good choice? Can we talk about, look how even, can you see that? I don't know if you can see that. Look how evenly the pepper, this thing is, it's like $2.
I'm sold.
And it's amazing.
I need to try that.
It's like the most even pepper grinder, and I can't even all right, Lorena, olive oil. I rudely interrupted you.
We could have a whole class on just olive oil. Chef Scott, you know this already.
Done.
And what we know from a nutritional standpoint are the mono and polyunsaturated fats that are present in there.
Okay.
So the fatty acids within each type of oil, they're all different.
Right.
But when we're looking specifically at olive oil, they're going to be rich in those monounsaturated fats. Why do we care about that? We know that that contributes to cardiovascular health. You're looking to, increase your good cholesterol and vice versa, decrease your bad cholesterol. Those are oils that we want to be including. But honestly, we could talk about olive oil in just one full class. I
love it. So while I'm going to let my fennel marinate, my grill is hot. You should preheat your grill, and I'll do a little joke/real thing that's going to happen with the grill over there to give you some grilling pointers about how to preheat your grill. I'm going to let that preheat. I'm just going to let that sit for a second. I'm going to show you guys, because I've got the last, my friend Charlotte Samuel had the last pomegranate hiding out at her house. So if you have a pomegranate, I'm going to show you how to use it. Pomegranate season typically from about September to December. These hold really well, so typically they'll go till about January. I think the last ones I saw in store that I've seen near me were like last week. They're kind of finishing out the season. They went from those big, you see them, they're in those big drop bins, and they kind of slowly, as the season wears down, they go to like a little smaller spot in your local H-E-B. But I have them because it was really important that I wanted to show you how to butcher a pomegranate. So next season, when you're actually looking for pomegranates and you're like, oh, I know how to do this now, there's a way that I've seen it done where some chefs do it where they put it in a bowl of water. I get that philosophy because it kind of helps it make less mess with the red. But unless you have a centrifuge to separate the water from the actual pomegranate juice, which is what you want some of that pomegranate for, the fresh pomegranate for, I don't think Kitchen and Table sells a centrifuge yet. If we do, I haven't tested one yet. But until we do sell a centrifuge, it's better to do it this way, because that way you keep all the juice intact, and it's a fun little thing. You just give it a little whack on the pomegranate. So I'm going to take just the tip of this guy off to make it even, and I'll show you why I do that. So here's where you're going to want to put gloves on.
Oh, I am just watching intensely
Are
here.
you ready? You're going to be like...
my son loves to cut up pomegranates, and it takes him forever. So
it's, look, I mean, pomegranates have been around for thousands of years. They're a fantastic fruit. I love these, but a lot of times, you'll see them, like kind of peeling and just kind of peeling the skin off, and they have all those little clusters of all those great pomegranate arils. But I'm going to show you a different way to do it that I just feel like is just easier. And I do it typically when like pomegranates come in, I'll get a bag of pomegranates. It's called a bag, typically. Bob may be there, he may not be there, I don't know. But a bag of pomegranates, and I'll kind of do them all at once. So I just have like a quart of these pomegranate arils ready to go. So I'm going to cut it right across the equator, straight down. Now you see that?
Okay.
That is our pomegranate. You can see the seeds inside here. So how do you get all that out magically without being like, futzing and whatever? Well, I'll show you. You take just a nice heavy spoon, and you're going to take your spoon, and you're going to hold it in the bowl, and you're just going to I'm just kind of barely squeezing the outside of the pomegranate, but just give the pomegranate a little smack on the back. Can you see what's happening? Do you see the arils that are happening? If I had a bowl of water here, all that great juice is gone. But look how much, I just want to show you this. We're using physics to get the pomegranate arils out of the pomegranate. But look, so when I turn this over, come on.
Oh, wow.
And look how much is left. Look, come on, what? And look at this. I just take those out and it's good to go, right? Few of those white spots, these little pith or whatever, you take that out and look, that's ready to go. I don't have to worry about it. This goes in the compost if you want to pull more of those seeds out. But look, basically all of it's gone. It gave up what it needed to do. I'm telling you.
Oh,
right?
Wow. That's way quicker than the way my son does it.
And just have a deeper bowl so that it doesn't hit, so that the juice doesn't spray everywhere. But literally, it's just give it a nice little, I'm just going around the pomegranate, around the side. And literally, the pomegranates are giving up their juice, they're giving up the arils, and you see very little of the actual pith coming out just because we're using force. Wow. Sometimes, Lorena, force is what's needed.
It's what's needed. I get that. I totally get that. All right. That is amazing.
There you go. Boom. There's our pomegranate. That all comes out. Look at that. All in one big batch. Look at this. Done. This is a whole bowl of pomegranate. Come on. Arils. So look how fast that is. Versus trying to like dispatch that and do a whole thing. Like just make it easier on yourself. All right. Here we go. You ready for this? I'm going to throw these in the refrigerator. Now, if you can't find fresh pomegranates, which I did not either, guess what? You can find pomegranate arils, I want to say almost. Not always. Almost year-round. Almost you can find them year-round. And if you can't find the fresh pomegranate arils that are usually in our refrigerated produce section, you can always go to our frozen section and you can find frozen pomegranate arils hanging out with the frozen blueberries, strawberries, mangoes, etc. That's where that is. So here's my arils I already took out. Those are good to go. Those are ready. All right, our fennel. We talked about it. We're switching to the grill cam. All right, here we go. So, oh, we talked about this. How do you know when your grill's hot, Lorena? So it used to be they'd go, it was called the 4x4 rule, and if you've heard this, it's really kind of funny, but the 4x4 rule is a rule where you would take your hand to test the readiness of your grill, hold your hand 4 inches above your grill for 4 seconds, and that's the 4x4 where you go, ow, it's hot. So what if Lorena was like, hey, Grandma, will you go check and see if the fire's ready? And her grandmother walks out, and I don't know how old she is, but she may have held her hand up there. Well, guess what? Lorena's grandma may now have a burned hand or second degree burn. She's like, why would you send me out? Why would you burn me? Why would you do that? So you're already going to put this on the grill. Let this be the guinea pig. Put it down. If you don't see smoke, just pick it back up and wait longer. Don't put your hand on it. Don't burn yourself. Or same thing like we talked about last week with the grilling the meat. If you're going to grill meat, don't stick your hand on there to do it. Just take your tongs, dip your meat down. If you see smoke, if it starts to sear, you're good.
I like that approach a lot better.
Poor Grandma, right?
Chef Scott, we've got a question from Lisa on Facebook. She wants to know, for this fennel recipe, how do you prepare if you don't have a grill?
If you don't have a grill, great question. I would actually either, Lisa, do this in your oven, really high heat, roast it in your oven, or I would get one of our, you get those little grill pans that have little lines in them. You could just get a nice hot, I know we sell the Cocinaware ones, so just put on a nice hot stove, let it get nice and heated up for, like literally give it 25 minutes to half an hour to get really hot. Do the same thing, brush your stuff with olive oil, throw it on there, and it'll get really nice grill marks. Honestly, roasting it is just as good. You want to really let this do its thing. Caramelization is key for like softening the flavor and making it a little bit sweeter. So grill pan, I do it all the time. If you don't want to heat up your grill, I don't either. Just throw it in a cast iron skillet. You can just sear it, get it real hot, just get it real caramelized, flip it over. But like medium heat, but let it go for a good long time. When I preheat a cast iron skillet for like steaks, I leave that baby on there for like 40 minutes, just like over medium heat, getting stupid hot. And that way you get that nice caramelization, that nice sear. All right, I'm gonna put this knife away. It has all my pomegranate juice all over it. All right, so we're gonna make this, this salad. My potatoes here, turn on the light here, show you. So look how fast these are cooking.
Yeah, I can see that brownie
so
too.
Everybody's got a, so you can kind of see the, without burning myself with the hot oil, everybody's got a hot spot in our oven. Mine is always like in this corner, in these ovens here. So always good to kind of give it a rotation so everything kind of works evenly. I know even if you have like a $17,000, I think it's the most expensive oven I've seen, $17,000 oven, you may want to always just kind of rotate it because they all just kind of heat uneven. That's just the nature of ovens, the dry heat. All right, we're going to do our salad. So you can see over here I've got a nice little, well, yes, Lorena, this is our kitchen and table nonstick skillet.
Yeah.
You notice that's a nice little skillet. The pinyon, or the pine nut in this, is, you said it smelled like popcorn.
Yeah,
Lorena was like,
about to
you pop
mention.
popcorn in here? I'm like, no, I wish I had popcorn to pop. We toasted the pine nuts in a dry pan. This is just a simple dry pan. Toasted them on low heat until they got nice and caramelized, just nice and kind of brown like that. That's all we're looking for. I'm going to scoop these guys into a bowl here, and that's going to be the garnish for our salad. If you don't, and I said this earlier to Lorena in our rehearsal, I said, you know, if you don't like pine nuts, or you're nervous about eating pine nuts, or just don't like them, don't want to pay for them, whatever that thing may be, don't worry, because a great substitute, just hang on, a great substitute is actually popping popcorn, your favorite popcorn, and throw it in this salad because the pine nuts give a very popcorn-like flavor. And so if we're adding the fresh popcorn, like real pop, I don't care if it's microwave or fresh, you have a microwave machine. If you've got one of those big popcorn machines, fresh popcorn in a salad, I know it sounds weird, but it does the same thing. It mimics that flavor of that, like, you know, that kind of popped corn, that kind of burned, like, not burned nut flavor, but it's like that, you know what I mean, that popcorn flavor. Everybody knows what that is, right? The popcorn flavor?
Yeah, and I like that idea too. I think it'd be enticing for kiddos to try something new as well.
Telling you. Oh, will you set a timer, Lorena, my friend, for like 3 minutes?
Okay.
And I'm going to do a little 45-degree turn on my fennel because I'm going to show you those great griddle marks. Now, was it Lisa? Was it Lisa who asked about that?
Facebook,
Lisa?
yes.
If you are using a griddle pan, and if I had one, let's see if I have one that's handy. I don't. I kind of do. This is a gigantic skillet. Just imagine, if you will, Lisa, this was smaller and had those little ridges. You've seen those ones with the ridges. That's all you'd want to use. But just let it sit on the actual stove for like 40 minutes and you'll get the same grill marks. That's what you want to look for. Yeah. If we could pop that up, that'd be awesome. If like it was Facebook, as I was talking about it, it'd pop up. What? It kind of does. It's magic that way. You gotta watch it. All right, I got some kettle cooked Parmesan. I love shaved Parmesan cheese. I think everybody's on to the Parmesan. I love shaved Parmesan because I love having those big pieces that are kind of, you know, just different. They're all a little bit different as far as how they go, and I love that. Love that about those. But I think everybody's onto it because I'm like, every time I go to the store, I'm like, where's all the shaved Parmesan? You can find all the other Parmesan, but I'm like, where's all the shaved? So I think it's becoming everybody's realizing, like, why would I go with just grated Parmesan when I could have shaved Parmesan?
We got another question. Another question for you, Chef Scott. So, is avocado oil better than olive oil for the recipe, for the fennel recipe?
I think it's totally up to you. We got the opportunity, like, I don't know how many years ago. We went to Alimenteria in Spain and met with some olive oil farmers. I do have to say, side note to this whole oil conversation, H-E-B works with some of the best people in the world, literally in the world, all over the place. And they're farmers that we work with, these local farmers in different countries. They're amazing. And we talked about olive oil, and not all olive oil is created equal. I think most chefs, when you go to school, they say, don't ever saute in olive oil. It's got a, heat count of, we talk about like the oil temperature, like breakdown. Well, olive oil is completely different. Not all of olive oil will burn at 325. It's not, because not all olives are equal. There's so many different olives. If you go on the aisles at H-E-B, you'll find so many different olive oils that are made from Picual olives, from Arbequina olives, from Korinki olives, Greek olives. There's Kalamata olive. There's all these different olive oils, and all those olives are different. And so the oil they produce is a little bit different, and they're all heat tolerant to different degrees. So to just say they're all like you can't use it on high heat, we used to fry exclusively an extra virgin olive oil in an Italian restaurant I worked at. So like every olive oil is a little bit different. So I think you can fry with this. I like the flavor of olive oil, so I use it. Avocado oil, totally fine too. And you said the benefits health-wise are pretty much like not too far off each other, right?
Right. Depending on the source, the fatty acids will differ oil to oil. But again, really taking it back to the plant source, it's absolutely going to provide those unsaturated fats that we're looking to incorporate.
I love it. So yeah, either oil you want to do. I tend to use olive oil for pretty much everything. The oils I have in my house, I've got a pretty eclectic group of oils in my house. I've got everything from different kinds of nut oils, but the oils I really love are sunflower oil, grapeseed oil, and then of course extra virgin olive oil, which I pretty much use for almost everything across the floor.
There's our timer, Chef Scott.
Timer. All right, I'm gonna go turn these. See how hot our grill is here. Pretty stinking hot. So again, these are pretty thick pieces, so I don't have to go crazy like trying to babysit them here. I'm going to kind of let them do their thing. I'm going to turn this guy. These oblong pieces are a little bit, these end pieces are kind of hard. Just going to give them a 45-degree turn, so just turn them 45 degrees from where they were. There we go. There we go, and there we go. This grill this side's really hot. This is like at medium right now, and it's getting there. All right, we're going to throw some olive oil in a pan. So the recipe calls for about a half a cup of olive oil. That's a quarter cup for sauteing and starting to make the vinaigrette, the warm lemon vinaigrette, which I love. And then adding a little bit more olive oil at the end because we are adding a third a cup of lemon juice, so it's a little more lemon juice heavy. So we want to make sure we got enough, we want a little acid, we want that kind of bright acid in there. I'm mincing up my shallots and garlic now because I want to show you this. I got my heat. I'm going to do a little minced garlic, minced shallot. We're going to start sauteing that along with, where's my zester? Here we go. Along with our fresh thyme. So we're going to add fresh thyme to the olive oil, which is going to flavor everything. We're going to remove it, But I feel like in this application, I'm going to show you my kale in a second. In this application, it's so delicious. We'll have a little hint of that fresh thyme that kind of gets fried up. You like cooking with herbs, Lorena?
I do, and I do grow some because it's so
Really?
easy.
What do you grow?
So right now I've got sage, and it's still good. I didn't let it go through the freeze, that first freeze we had. I've got sage right now. I've got rosemary. I've got some chocolate mint. Like that's what it's called. It's called chocolate mint.
I know. I've heard of chocolate. I didn't realize.
A basil also. My basil's pretty sad right now, but yes.
How is your basil doing?
It's okay. I need to trim it back so it'll come back better. But I'm keeping them safe for this next freeze. So
it's going to be, yeah, we'll see what happens, right? You're an inspiration because I can't keep anything alive. Nothing.
Well,
my garden, everything just dies, and Charlotte would say that's totally on brand. I would say you're not wrong, but you know, that's just how it goes. All right, we're going to saute garlic and shallots. You saw me zest the garlic. Why? Because we're going to eat the shallots kind of like softened in the salad, but I don't want like the big pieces of garlic minced in there, so I zest it so I get all the flavor of the garlic without all that extra, you know, pieces of, like, nobody wants to chew on a piece of garlic. Or maybe you do. Maybe you like pickled garlic, and that's a whole different story. All right, so we're going to keep this over low heat. I'm just going to sweat these out. We're going to just take some of the burn off the garlic here, just cook it slightly. We're going to add a little bit of fresh lemon juice to kind of deglaze our pan. I'm going to add our fresh thyme. Now, if you've never added, did you ever add fresh thyme, like just whole thyme sprigs, Lorena, to your cooking?
I have not. What I use that for is when I'm doing a turkey. I stuff it in the turkey.
Oh, yeah. I just had a few sprigs, fresh thyme. You're going to hear it start popping. Don't freak out. Let it go. It's going to be really, really perfumey. It's going to be really, really beautiful in this. So 2 kinds of kale, first of all, before we assemble all this. I'm just spilling my lemon juice everywhere. I'm going to give that a toss. I'm going to watch. My olfactory senses are watching our fennel. Almost lost the word looking in the fridge. All right. 2 kinds of kale. I know kale is a superfood. It says right here, excellent source of vitamin A and C, and a good source of calcium. Mm-hmm. What else, Lorena, would we want to eat kale for? And I'll kind of tell you the different uses of both of these, what I'm going to show you. But will you talk a little bit about why we should eat kale? Is kale just over? Is it like, I'm over it?
No.
Should we still be eating it?
Kale is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. One of the things that's not called out on the nutrient profile for kale there is vitamin K.
Okay.
Kale has the highest amount of vitamin K from like all your leafy greens.
So why do you need vitamin K? What's vitamin K do for our bodies?
So vitamin K is responsible for the blood clotting. So
okay.
This is also, I'm glad you asked that because this is also important for individuals that may have to stay away from high vitamin K foods. Oh. How do we know that? A registered dietitian. So they'll be able to identify. She just brought it. I
was like all the way full circle.
Well, you know, they can identify whether or not you should be watching your vitamin K intake. But the other thing, the vitamin K also helps us with bone formation too. So know that when we grow to our, normal size, or when we're adults, we continuously grow bone. So vitamin K.
Isn't that crazy? Will you say that again? Because I don't. You told me that, and I didn't. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
People typically think you're like, well, you grow bones when you're like a kid, like you're growing, but like we're constantly growing bone.
Yeah, we're constantly growing bone. You can be deficient in things like vitamin K, calcium, vitamin D, and these will hinder good bone formation and just really keeping your bone healthy.
Don't want.
You don't want to do.
Don't want to do that.
But vitamin K is a star in that kale.
Telling you. All right, so I got 2 different kales. So if you find yourself at the store and you're like, look, they don't have the baby kale. I know the recipe calls for baby kale. There's a reason why. So the baby kale is a little more tender. The leaves are obviously because it's baby kale, so it hasn't grown up to be full-blown, really hardy, heavy kale. So the leaves, these stalks, it will typically grow up and be really, really thick and big. They're still very small, and so it's very much more edible, I feel like, and it just works better in a salad. But kale is really, really good for, obviously, like heartier dishes. So like stewing it, braising it, like cooking it down is really, really good. But if you're going to use this kale, totally fine in this recipe. What you want to do to this, you see those stalks versus the baby stalks? You want to massage the kale. So put the kale into a bowl and kind of massage it. Like kind of break it down with your hands, break it down with your fingers, just kind of massage it. It'll feel softer. You'll kind of lose some of that volume, and that's where you're making it more tender so that when you chew it, it's like going to a buffet in the 1980s where they put kale all the way around the buffet. It's like taking a piece out and trying to chew it, and then 27 minutes later, when you hit the dessert bar, you're still chewing on it. You're like, I gotta spit this out. Like it's too rough. So massaging is going to actually help it to just break down and be much more palatable, much more soft. So, but I like this. If you can find it, if not, you can always do this. You can always do anything else. The thing I would avoid is spinach, unless you want to have like a sauteed spinach dish, because spinach, once it hits the heat, will completely wilt down, obviously. So this will hold its strength a little more. All right, so this is, I turn this off. We're about ready to hit it with the lemon juice here. So I'm going to do lemon juice. So we're going to kind of make an emulsion. It's kind of like a dressing in the bowl. So we're going to make an emulsion using the lemon juice and the mustard. So the Dijon mustard I love because Dijon mustard has a little bit of white wine. It's got the mustard seeds, obviously, so it has a little more flavor to it. So you can see I'm getting a little bit of caramelization. It smells really, really, can you smell that, Lorena?
It does smell delicious. I'm really capturing everything that you threw in there.
It's kind of caramelizing a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and add the lemon juice to kind of stop that from happening. I'm going to keep it over low heat. Again, I'm working with a, 75,000 BTU stove. You got to kind of go a little bit more gentle here. All right, I'm going to do the mustard goes in. It's about a tablespoon of Dijon mustard. Get all that mustard out of there. Don't stay in there.
So these are all typical ingredients for a vinaigrette. But again, you've showed me something I don't know, and you can do this warm.
Exactly. And if you wanted to, if you get past the point where you're like, look, I've been making better choices. I need to let loose a little bit. This exact same dressing can be done. I'm going to turn that off. We're done. This dressing, see how it kind of thickened up? See that?
Oh, that looks great.
We're off the heat. We're going to let it cool for a second, then we're going to add everything, and we'll hit it with the rest of the olive oil. If you're just kind of going, look, I've been doing the healthy thing. I'm good. I've been trying to do a really good job, and you're on it. You can do this exact same vinaigrette, which you can change the lemon juice for red wine vinegar, and you can add bacon bits or fresh bacon, saute the bacon until it's crispy, and the fat that's in there will be like your olive oil. Not as healthy as olive oil, right, Lorena? Am I saying the right thing? I could be wrong. I don't know. I told you I'd make these outrageous health claims.
But no, since you said bacon bits, can I just throw something in real quick?
Yep.
H-E-B sells some really great bacon bits. The fat has been rendered off already. So, we're so afraid of, this type of fat, right? But I can tell you, if you're looking for that flavor that you're talking about, Chef Scott, you can do it. Just get your H-E-B bacon bits. Bacon pieces is the one I really like. It's really good.
Let the record show that Lorena did not shame me. She did not censor what we did, but she was like, I get you. She said moderation. You heard her. This is why you want to go see the dietitians in store, because they're there. They got your back. All right, the greens are going to go in here again. Why we're using kale greens, I'm going to put a big bowl of these kale greens. I probably should have gotten a bigger bowl, but you know what? I like a challenge. We're going to make it work.
You're making it work.
All the kale greens in here. I got my pine nuts standing by. I've got the Parmesan cheese laying by. All right.
We got a question from YouTube regarding the popcorn recommendation.
Yes.
They want to know, would you flavor the popcorn for this particular salad? And if so, how?
I would just probably go, honestly, what I was thinking about, which is like straight up microwave popcorn.
Yeah.
Like just the simple, like just salt and pepper microwave popcorn. I wouldn't do, if you, look, here's the thing. I haven't tried it with like kettle corn, but you could probably do kettle corn too. It'd be a little sweet and savory. So if you want a little sweet note to it, I would say, I would definitely not want to censor you away from that because it could be pretty good. But I would definitely say I was thinking more just like regular popcorn. Even like if you like movie theater style butter popcorn, I would probably steer you away from that too, just because it may be too much butter flavor that may kind of conflict with some of the stuff. But just regular old popcorn, just regular old good old popcorn, just toss it in there. It's really tasty. All right, Lorena, the fennel's done, by the way. This is pretty soft.
Oh, that's awesome.
It just has enough give. It's going to kind of steam while we're finishing out everything else. I'm going to let it sit. You want it to have a little bit of it's got to have a little bit of a bite to it. You want to kind of be able to cut it with a fork here. But see all that great color, all that great caramelization. So when I season this with salt and pepper, we lost some obviously as I went to the grill. It's natural. Things are going to fall off, right, as we're kind of tossing and turning them. So we're going to hit it with a little more olive oil first, a little more salt and pepper. Our first course is just about ready. You ready for this? How much time do I have? Am I still doing all right on time? I'm just flowing up here, man. It's just free flowing. A little bit of olive oil. Always got to have a little olive oil. And I'm going to use my super magnificent. It was a little bit of salt. That was maybe a little bit heavy if I'm being honest, but I feel like you want to have a little bit on there. All right, I told you I want to keep some of these fennel fronds for some decoration, so we're going to do that. So we got a little fennel frond over our fantastic fennel here. This is just enough fennel for one person, and I'll give it to you, Lorena. You get to have it. She was new to fennel, so we're gonna let her have the whole thing.
I would have never tried this hadn't it been for you, Chef Scott, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It really is something different. You're looking for different flavors, different textures. This is something to definitely try.
And it's just colors, right? I mean, it's Eat the Rainbow, so it's like all the different color contrast of everything. All right, there's your roasted fennel. Let's do this salad now. So I've got my vinaigrette here. My potatoes are coming up last. So look at how much, can you see that? I don't know if you can see that, Rob. Look at how much that kind of emulsified and thickened up. Look at that. It's just become, by the way, the smell is ridiculous. Let's take my tongs. This is where you're going to remove the thyme because nobody wants to chew on a piece of thyme. As tasty as that would be for the first moment, all of a sudden you'd have that reaction of like, nope.
So just for flavor.
Just for flavor. And if any comes off, totally fine. Totally fine with that. Here we go, right over the top here. Right over the top of our salad. Again, it's still warm. Again, just imagine at a later date, a little bacon, red wine vinaigrette over some greens like this. I'm telling you. It's all about moderation.
That's
we're moderating, right?
That
this is Eat the Rainbow. We're moderating. All right. I'm going to give this a little toss. I told you I like a challenge, and I'm going to see how much this I can keep in the actual bowl here. So because we're using a hearty green, we're using the kale, right? It's not going to wilt as fast, and it's going to kind of soften it up as it sits. So if you're going to use, you can use fresh kale. If you can't find the baby kale, again, don't worry. You can use the fresh kale, the big bunches that we sell at H-E-B. A lot of our Texas roots we have that's locally grown kale. It's fantastic. Just chop it up, and then you can do the exact same thing. We're just kind of tossing this all together. Some of it's going out of the boat. But you're not seeing that, right? We're just seeing all the good things that are happening. All right, so give it a little toss here. It'd be so much easier to do with my hands, which is what I'm going to do. I'm changing to hands, trying to be delicate and just mess it all up. All right, when in doubt, just use your hands. All right, so you can see how, well, the texture is definitely different. You can kind of see like how some of those ridges are kind of gotten a little bit softened. All right, let's do we got our pine nuts here, our pine nuts and our Parmesan cheese. How much Parmesan cheese you like? Lorena, how much you like? You like a lot?
Do you want the nutrition answer or what I prefer?
Give me the nutrition answer and then tell me how much you want to eat right now.
Okay, so typically cheese serving size is about an ounce. But
okay.
When we're looking at it from the shaved Parmesan, that could be quite a bit because it really does.
That's a good amount.
Yeah, it really does kind of expand that, right?
I know what an ounce looks like in a cup, and it doesn't ever seem like a lot. But this is a was this a 6 ounce? This is a 4 ounce container, so that's a lot of cheese.
Yeah.
I was way off. That's why we're way generous with this. All right, shaved Parmesan. This is why you like shaved Parmesan cheese. Come on, look at this. That's a little more than I gave you. A little more than an ounce. That's an ounce and a 0.62. Lorena. We're pretty close. It still stays within your range. I feel like we're safe. And then a little bit of our pine nuts over the top here. I love the pine nuts.
Those are the roasted ones,
just
right?
Love the pine nuts. Yep. And a little bit of our fresh fennel fronds. I'm telling you, just like a little bit of dill on top of this. So it just gives that nice light flavor. Really, really simple. Again, really easy to do. All right, little salad. We got our potatoes. I don't need my cutting board anymore because potatoes are ready to go. So this is where our all that fun we had with making our open face. You watched as we did the blender. This is now, we're like batting 1,000, Rob and I, on having no accidents with the blender being open on camera. So I'm going to show you one more dish I'm going to show you as well. That's kind of fun using all the fruits, and we're talking about the colors of the rainbow. So I have my pesto we made here. It's set up beautifully. I have my, don't think, no, this is one I made earlier. This is all okay, it's all cool, it's all fine, we're good. Made it earlier. I'm going to get my bowl here. Actually, I'm going to do 2 different bowls. I have the original pesto we used right in here. So I'm going to add the potatoes to this. I'm going to toss it all together. This is just going to get cotija cheese and the pesto. That is it. If you want to add other stuff, if you want to garnish with more cilantro, or those of you who don't like the cilantro, you can always add a little more just fresh herb. You can add some of these pomegranate arils to it, a little parsley, fresh chives, green onions would be a fantastic addition, a little aromatic going in there with it would be really, really fantastic. Again, our sweet potatoes are nice and roasted, beautifully caramelized. Can I show you the ones that are in here now?
Let's take a look.
These were done like 5 minutes ago. I could smell them.
Oh, nice.
Look at that.
Ooh.
Caramelized. I think these are the bits that you really want. Like these, and these are really hot. That's where all that like sugar starts to caramelize. These are really hot and they're really good. Nice and caramelized, really, really good. Let them cool off slightly because you don't want everything to completely just kind of melt down. So let it cool off for about 5 minutes while you're kind of plating up everything else. And then you'll get this. Oh, look at this guy. He jumped out. Cotija cheese. Pesto. How much pesto should we add? Give me the dietitian how much sauce we should add to something, and then tell me how much you want on there. We're going to do it both ways. So we're going to have the moderation as well as the we'll do it clinical.
Yeah, if it were straight fat, which it's not, it would only be 2 tablespoons. You can really get a little bit more liberal with that because it does contain the herb in there as well. So
love it. You heard what she said. Well, I could be liberal.
Well, and I think so. Also, it's going to be around people's preference for spice. So you can play around with a little and add a little bit more.
Exactly. So I put it around. I don't know if you can see this. I put my dressing around the outside because I'm going to kind of drag the potatoes through it and just kind of give them a nice little light coat. This, I do want to say about this pesto really, really quickly. This pesto is good on anything. I was dipping chips in it. I had celery, carrots, whatever you want to dip. It's a great dip. We got Super Bowl coming up, big game. You got all these, you got people coming over, you got dips. You want to be like, hey, I don't want to do the same old ranch with my veggie tray. This pesto, double, triple the recipe. I promise you, it's so good with anything. Spread it on flatbread, anything you can think of. It's delicious. All right. We're going to just toss these guys around here. Kind of incorporate our pesto here, incorporate the pesto, and I'm going to add a little bit of I'm going to add a little bit. Yeah. Unless it all comes out at once. I'm going to use a spoon. You know what? I see this.
No, I see. You saw me giving you that eye.
I see the cliff. I'm approaching at a very fast trajectory. I'm just going to be safe. Add a little bit to coat here. All right. So I'm going to add a little bit of that just to kind of coat it. I love the way it looks when it has like the kind of cheese coated on it. Our potatoes and the pesto here. Just a little toss. You can see I'm just kind of gently tossing it. And you had this earlier, and I had this. I'm not even kidding you. I hate sweet potatoes. When I was a kid, they would do the sweet potato casserole for Thanksgiving. My grandma, and it was like I was like, this is the worst thing that anybody has ever made in my. It was just like sweet potatoes and marshmallows. There's nothing wrong with that, but the way they made it was like the worst thing I've ever tasted for my taste. These sweet potatoes. Spicy, sweet, savory, like all that stuff together is a totally different ball game. Let me get my little plate here.
It really is.
It's just so much different.
So good.
You know, you got to have flavors in your cabinet and in your life that kind of push and pull, right? You want things that kind of, just a little bit different, a little bit acidic, a little bit maybe some sweetness. Like that's all part of that, like all this experience of like, if you're gonna eat good food, just make it good food. All right, a little more cotija cheese right on top. Cotija, the best way I can describe it is kind of like a Mexican Parmesan. It's beautiful when it's shredded. It's more of a hard cheese. It's nice and salty.
Hence the
salty cheese. It's very, very delicious. So there's our, and I would put a little more cilantro on top, but since we have all this beautiful fennel fronds, let's just garnish with one more. Now I have there's one more bonus feature.
Bonus.
Save that. Save it. I promise you. Save it. It's so good on everything. So we have all this Eat the Rainbow stuff. So I have all these, we have all these blueberries. We have all this stuff. We had mango. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to show them really fast. Do I have time to show? Do I have time to show? It's a fun skill, promise. So we have pomegranate arils, we have mango. So if you don't want to cut mango, I'm going to show you how to cut a mango as well real fast. But I love, it's a great side dish. Like we talk about kind of resetting, and I think Lorena, we talked about this when I was showing you all this. Mm-hmm. Like all the colors of what we have here. So these 3 things together, we have blueberries, we have mango, and we have pomegranate. Are they all superfoods? Some of them superfoods?
They're all going to fall within that, hey, eat the rainbow. I mean, they're all going to have phytochemicals in them. They're all going to have vitamin C in them. One thing we haven't talked a lot about was vitamin C. And you can find that in a lot of fruits and vegetables. Absolutely superfood.
So we have our pomegranate seeds that we took fresh from the pomegranate. We showed you how to cut up. I have those sitting in here. So I'm going to add some fresh blueberries that I've already washed. Now, if the blueberries, and I'm just going to not quite as sweet as they should be. Can you use a little honey, Lorena? Can we use honey?
Sure.
Are we able to use, what's a good sweetener we can use?
Yeah, I love honey. You just know at the end of the day, sweetener and sugar, they're basically going to do the same thing through metabolism in your body. They're going to convert to glucose. So just watch your portion.
So I was going to say add honey, but if you did your pomegranate and cut it the way we told you to do it, you'd have all this beautiful juice that you could use as the sweetener instead of honey or like an added sugar, right? Which is that better for you? Is that a better for you option? Using some of the juice?
Well, what I'm looking at is all the phytonutrients in there, that richness in there. Oh, that's going to be what's really
But if you did it in the water and you don't have a centrifuge, you got no juice left over, which is like what you want. It's so terrible. Don't do that. Just do it in a bowl. Keep all the juice. That's what you want, right? All right, so we have our mix here. I'm flipping this over. We have our 3 dishes. I want to show you the mango. So first of all, mango. If you're ever intimidated of a mango and you're like, you know what, I don't like to cut them. We sell this in stores. Cut mango. It's fresh. It's delicious. It's ready to go. But if you don't if you're like, you know what, I've always wanted to, like, if that was one of your things this year, you're like, I want to get better at cutting, I want to like really start going more fresh, like do it on your own, then great. Here's how I'm going to show you this. I've gone ahead and peeled the mango. We peeled the mango. We're going to end right on time here. Peel the mango. And by the way, you should be eating right now. You could be watching this with your glass of wine or your water or your spritzer or your ranch water, whatever that is, and then you'll be eating this. We'll do the last little bit here together. You have a mango. So the mango, all I do is trim the bottom like so, just off the bottom, so I have a place to set it, just like so. So it'll set up like this. Peel that mango either with a knife or with your just plain old vegetable peeler, and then this guy goes away, and then you're left with this guy. So mangoes have a really funky seed, and typically they run I would say the wider side of it. It's like an oblong kind of, I don't even know how to describe it. It's hard to get to, but it's a weird seed, and it kind of is, they sometimes are bigger, sometimes they're smaller. So the way I like to do it is, take your knife, I'm going to show you how to dice this on the mango. Take it, put it on its side, run your knife straight down. You shouldn't feel any tension on that because that's where there's no seed. Eventually you'll start to feel, oh, there's my seed. There's my seed. See how far I go down? Oh. So there's my seed. There's my seed. I'm making these really small cuts right alongside of my mango. I'm going to move my hand here because it's a little slippery. I'm going to flip it over. Just straight down. And eventually you get to the edge and you won't have that, but you want to go as down as you did, as far down as you did on the other ones. Turn it on its side. Same thing. Right here. Right here. You see I'm doing those really small cuts. You could do this really big with dice. You could do it really, really small. But this is one of my favorite tricks to like, how do I dice a mango right on the mango itself? And then turn its side. You ready for this? Dun, 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 dun. Come on, y'all. We just diced a mango. It's still on the mango.
That is so cool.
So that's all you're going to do. So look at our cross-hatch pattern. So there's your diced mango. Here's a quart that I already diced. You put it all together, and you have this ready to go for any occasion. Throw it on your fruit salad, throw it anywhere. Or if you want to dice it bigger, you can do the same thing on this side. We're going to take it in bigger chunks. Here we go. Here's big chunks. Yes, ma'am.
If somebody has allergy to mango, I've got my thoughts on what good replacement. What are you thinking for a potential replacement on a mango?
Ooh, mango? Man, I would say like a melon would probably work. Like you use one of our cantaloupes, like a melon, like one of our Tuscan melons. We have a lot of really cool melons in our season. They're gonna hit stores pretty soon. So look at this. So that's the same thing. I just diced it bigger.
Perfect.
What? So it's easy, easy, easy. So that's how you do it. Now I'm going to show you how when you have all this great fruit, I'm going to add a little mango to this because we just cut a mango. I'm going to add some fresh mango as much as you want. Now this I don't really need to add any honey to. You can. I will definitely add some, I'm going to compost this. No, I can't get rid of this. I'm just going to put it in here. It's all different shapes, but you know what? Somebody will take it. All right, so a little bit of fresh lime juice because we want to add a little bit of that heat to it. That knife needs to be sharpened. All right, a little bit of fresh lime juice in here. Just squeeze, get those forearms working out. I'll take our spoon, give it a toss. So now, Lorena, would this be a better for you choice for like a dessert to have, like something that's 100%. Sweet? Come on, look at that color.
That's what I'm like. 100%.
It's so pretty, and it's so delicious.
So many positives to that.
Just like that. Yeah, there's say it again. It's positive.
There's so many things that you're going to be getting from that. I mean, aside from getting that sweet satisfaction that you may be looking for in a dessert, you're getting just so much nutrition in that.
But that's not all. We have one more thing.
You got so many
we didn't talk about microbiome. We talk about like fermented foods, and one of the being, I know it's a big push. We have our fat-free Greek yogurt or our 0% milk fat vanilla yogurt. That's all I have in a little bowl here. This is how we're going to do this. Save this for dessert. The next morning, throw it on your vanilla yogurt, some of that juice in there, and then wait, as if it could get any better. You throw a little bit of your organic vanilla almond granola. If you don't like any of this kind of granola, get your favorite granola right over the top. Come on.
Now you're bringing in whole grains.
Come on, whole grain. Yeah, what else is in this? I mean, I joked earlier and said this is one sitting. This would probably fill me up pretty well, but I could probably choke this down.
There's a lot of servings in that box, Chef Scott.
That is it. Lorena, thank you so much, number one, for putting up with me. Number two, thank you so much for being here and adding so much value to this and just answering all the questions and being such a great resource. Will you please let everybody at home that was watching know where they can find you again? How do they go about it? And you also can be covered by insurance, right? Seeing a dietitian in stores?
That's right, Chef Scott. And I encourage y'all to reach out to our nutrition services team just to learn a little bit more about the program. Know that we've got a team of dietitians that's going to guide you in the right way. We're talking about product suggestions, meal plans, grocery store tours, all of these things. You'll get to learn a lot more about what's good for your health. I promise you, the first time you meet with a dietitian,
so cool.
yeah, we do so many cool things. We like to call the grocery store our classroom. So you're going to learn a lot in a grocery store, more than you ever thought you could learn. But the main takeaway from this that I really want our watchers to know and really get a good sense for is, we promise you that the recommendations we give you, they're not going to be cookie cutter. They are individualized. They're going to be for your needs. And so know and trust that is our goal, is to give you individually what you need to control your any type of conditions, or to help you reach your health and wellness goal. Reach out to us, heb.com/nutrition.
Meet you where you are. Guys, thanks so much for sticking with us. God bless you. If you want to find us again, you can always sign up for the next class. Tomorrow we have Charlotte with whole grains. I'll be here with her. Working a double, doing it all with Charlotte. We'll have a lot of fun. Go to our website, heb.com/classes, to find out what's new, what's next, and to pick up or find something you missed, rewatch it. Go to our website. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/HEB. Check out all the great stuff. Wine stewards, celebrity chefs, so many great things on there. Catch up, and we will see you at the next class. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.